Ozempic, Mounjaro. These two medications have been around now for a couple of years, and you have probably heard about it yourself, maybe on social media or you've heard about it in the news. There's a lot of people now going to buy them even without a doctor's prescription. And I think it's important for us to know exactly what we are getting into and what this medication is capable of causing. If you would like to know what these drugs really are, what research says about them, and what these drugs are actually meant for, then this video is for you, and I'm going to be explaining that. Now listen, the last part of this video I'll be talking about something that is very important, so you don't want to miss it. So stay tuned with me till the end of this video. If you have not subscribed at this point, this is a good time to subscribe. So please do well to subscribe to this video right now using the button there. Yes, thank you. Let's go back to the basics, and that's the GLP-1. So all of these medications, Ozempic, Mounjaro, they belong to a class, and they particularly work on a particular hormone called GLP-1. So what is GLP-1? GLP-1 is an hormone, and that hormone is secreted in the gut, that is in the stomach and intestine. Now, when you eat, these hormones are naturally secreted, right? When you eat, what happens is that this hormone is secreted and it sends a signal. This signal is sent to at least 3 different areas of your body. One is to your pancreas. So it goes to tell your pancreas, the pancreas actually secretes insulin. So it tells the pancreas, secrete insulin because there is now food. All right, so secrete insulin. It also goes to the liver and tells the liver, don't release more glucose because now there is enough food in the body, which is then going to be converted to glucose for energy. So stop releasing glucose into the bloodstream. It also goes to the stomach and tells the stomach, slow down on how you're releasing this food. Let it take its time to digest so that there is not so much of sugar in the bloodstream. So you can think of your GLP-1 as the natural, I have eaten enough signal. Is that thing that tells the body, I've eaten enough, I've had enough. But you see, in people that are either obese or diabetic, all these signals, whether that of they won't go into the pancreas, the liver, or to the stomach, all these signals are either not there at all or they are very weak. So we then need something external to be able to stimulate and to cause the signal to happen. And that's where the GLP-1 medications come in, which is the Mounjaro and the Ozempic. So what they basically do is that they copy that hormone that naturally is produced in the body, and they just don't copy it and do it at a level. They do it at a stronger level, so it's even longer lasting and it's at a very higher intensity. For example, Ozempic in particular, it mimics that very GLP-1 hormone, that natural one, but it mimics it and lasts longer. And that's why people can take it once and it works for at as long as a week. That's because its effect is longer than even the natural one that is produced in the body. Then there is even another one, which is the Mounjaro. See, the Mounjaro one, that one doesn't just work on GLP. It also has another additional effect on another hormone called the GIP. This GIP and the GLP both work together and gives it a stronger effect, and that's why most times people who take Mounjaro tend to have even higher weight loss effect because it has a stronger effect on the body, working on these 2 different hormones. For us to understand this better, let's talk about the clinical trials, and there is the STEP trial. That one was done on the semaglutide, which is Ozempic. The clinical trials for semaglutide, which is the STEP trial, like I said, found out that 13% of the total body weight was lost on people that took it versus people who did not take anything. And that is very, very huge when it comes to weight loss. The STEP trial is not the only trial. In fact, there is another trial that we call the SELECT trial. The SELECT trial even showed us a much more important side of semaglutide, which is Ozempic. People that are already having heart disease and other cardiovascular conditions who took Ozempic, they found out that people with obesity and heart disease already who then take this medication, which is semaglutide in particular now, their risk of developing heart attacks reduced by 20% when they took semaglutide. So the medication is not just about weight loss, like many people say. It's even more about the benefit that it gives to the heart health benefit. More recently, another study showed that semaglutide is able to slow down the progression of kidney disease, and that is a very good outcome as well. Now let's talk about Mounjaro. In this case, it is tirzepatide, while the other one, Ozempic, is semaglutide. All right, get the difference. But for ease, let's just call it Mounjaro, which is what it's commonly known as. For Mounjaro, it is also very beneficial. When the clinical trial was done, a particular trial called the Surmount trial, they found out that people who took this Mounjaro jab, the medication, lost 18% of their total body weight. And that was revolutionary as well. They even went on to compare Ozempic and Mounjaro, and they discovered that for people who took Mounjaro, they lost 20%, and for people who took Ozempic, they lost 13 to 14%. So when it comes to weight loss, Mounjaro was doing a lot better than Ozempic in weight loss. However, this is the trick. Because semaglutide has been around for a longer time, there is a lot more data around its effectiveness. Also because of the cardiovascular impact, the good side of it around the heart, it is generally much more advisable in certain conditions. So both are good, but for their different cases and the different instances where they are best used. Now that I've spoken about all the beautiful side of this medication, the question is, can anybody just take this medication? No, they are meant for people with specific medical conditions. These medications come in different versions, and for the diabetes version, which is the Mounjaro and the Ozempic that we've talked about extensively, people who are advised to take this are people who already have type 2 diabetes. And not just that, but they have not been able to control or manage it well with other medications. Then there is a version of this medication for weight loss, which is the Wegovy and Zepbound. These ones are best used for people that have BMI, that is a body mass index of 30 and above, or when there is a BMI of 27 with other comorbidities like hypertension, heart disorders, and such likes, then it is okay to use them. This is very important because a lot of people use this drug just like a cosmetic weight loss medication. But no, they are meant for chronic illnesses like diabetes and obesity. And it is important that you get an advice from the doctor or your specialist diabetic nurse before you go on to take these medications. Now, let's talk about the honest side of it. It is good. Like I said, it's not meant for everybody, but also there are side effects. The side effects commonly found, they are generally gastrointestinal side effects. And what does that mean? We're talking about vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, or just general disturbances of the stomach. However, most people who take this medication tend to have relief of these symptoms, especially during the trials. Most of them, the symptoms relieved over time. That is also the reason why many times the doctors and the prescribers would generally start with a low dose and then they take it higher and higher from there. Another important thing to note is that while you're taking this medication, you're losing fat, but the muscles also can be lost. So we advise generally that you go on resistance training exercises to keep your muscles active and build it, and then also to take protein-rich diets. All this would help to balance all the losses that comes with the medication. A very rare uncommon complication or side effect is that person can begin to develop pancreatitis. Pancreatitis basically means inflammation of the pancreas. So when you notice that you're beginning to have some abdominal pain and it's not resolving quickly, you want to present to the doctor for a good, proper, and thorough assessment. It is rare, it is quite uncommon, but it is very possible that it happens. Now, this is a very important part of this whole conversation. When people, in fact, more than half of the people who have started semaglutide, that is Ozempic, they've had to take it, they stop it within a year. And what happens? Because it is actually meant to treat a chronic illness, and chronic illnesses don't stop. They remain there as long as the person lives. So what happens is that the weight loss returns. So it means that if the person has taken it for say 5 months, after stopping it 6 7 months they begin to gain weight again. And that is why it is most important to accompany these medications with lifestyle modification. So exercising, dieting, and maintaining that proper dieting is very, very important. This is also because it is quite expensive and it is not generally available. For example, in the UK, in the NHS, it's not something that is that is prescribed to many people. For these reasons, people tend to stop them. And that is why when you want to start this medication, you want to have a long-term plan on this medication. If this video has helped you to understand about these medications better, please give it a thumbs up and put a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you tried it? Do you know anybody tried it? What have they experienced? And just share with somebody so that they can know what they are getting into and also be aware of the dangers that comes with it. I hope this helps you and I hope you stay safe and healthy. Bye bye.